Shalom, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, the elect of Yahushai. All praises and glory is due to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kodash, who have given us this knowledge, this understanding, this truth, especially in the times that we're living in. And believe you me, these times are about to get worse, a whole lot worse, before it gets better. When is it going to get better? When Yahushua comes and destroys this society, destroys Esau's kingdom with a mighty destruction, and then sets up his kingdom on the planet Earth. And his kingdom, pursuant to 2 Peter 3 and 13, his kingdom is going to be a kingdom of righteousness. And by default, his kingdom is going to be the kingdom of Israel, which in reality is really the kingdom of Yahushua, but it's also known as the kingdom of Israel. And he's going to have King David sitting on the throne right beneath him. There's a scripture where it speaks about the order. To roughly paraphrase that scripture, it goes, and every man have his order. And the order starts with Yahushua, then King David, all the way down. Okay. The rest of the 144,000.
But now is Yahushua risen from the dead, and become the first fruits of them that slept. For since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead. For as in Adam all die, even so in Yahushua shall all be made alive. But every man in his own order, Yahushua the first fruits, afterward they that are Yahushua at his coming. Then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to God, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power. For he must reign till he hath put all enemies under his feet. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. For he hath put all things under his feet. But when he saith all things are put under him, it is manifest that he is accepted, which did put all things under him. And when all things shall be subdued unto him, then shall the Son also himself be subject unto him that put all things under him, that God may be all in all.
At 1446 Pacific Standard Time, 12 different locations across the globe were breached in what appears to have been a coordinated attack by an unknown enemy. All breaches were along the coastline in what is a campaign of rapid dominance.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful leg out there pushing his word and the truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shah. All right, and what I want to get into today, just going into another World War III update, boots on the ground. And I want to start entitling, these updates, boots on the ground, as we, just go into what's happening on the ground, dealing with these certain conflicts, these different war fronts, all right, they are opening up, all right, as we see, all right, the Lord, all right, is ushering in this third world war, okay? So just as, these devils have put the foot on the pedal, okay, with the AI infrastructure, which is going to usher in the MOTB, all right, the C-HIP, okay? We're seeing, all right, moves being made that's revving up for this third world war. All right, because these two prophecies, all right, go hand in hand. Okay, the mandating, all right, the C-Hill being mandated, this system, being changed into a digital system, with digital ID, AI governance, and digital currency. Okay, we're seeing, all right, the war drums, constantly get louder and louder. Okay, and there's times where you have your ceasefire, and these nations regroup. Okay, but then they go right back at it. So we just follow these things as they unfold. Okay, so there's times when there's a lot happening. There's times when it's mild. Well, then there's time when things intensify. Okay, and we just follow these things, according to prophecy. And ultimately, what we have to understand, all right, we're witnessing the counsel of the wicked begin to fail. Okay, because there was a time when the devil, he was able to prosper in his wickedness with no resistance. He was able to pull things off. Okay, but now we're entering into a time where we're seeing this man, all right, fail with his counsel. Okay, to establish his new world order because he's getting to the end of his road. Okay, he doesn't have much longer. So what we're seeing is the Lord, all right, begin to work against this man in prophecy, man. Okay, there was a time when prophecy, was at his back, was with this man. Okay, to win wars, uh, uh, become powerful in the earth, to dominate the earth, to deceive the world. All right, there was a time when prophecy was aiding him in doing that. Now prophecy, is against this man. Okay, and removing this man from power. So you go here to the book of Sirach 19 and 22. It said, the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, neither any time the counsel of sinners prudence. Okay, so the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom. So this devil and all his schemes, his gimmicks, his technology, and all these different things that he has going on, all right, that's not true wisdom. The fact that he has in his mind to attempt to go against the Most High and what's written, okay, shows you that he's a damn fool. Okay, and the Lord's finna show how foolish this man is. And this man has been overhyped in the earth for a long time. All right, people have looked at this man in awe. Okay, the scriptures speak about those that wander after the beast, but the Lord is finna show how weak, all right, and how foolish this man is in his rulership, man. Okay, so the counsel of the wicked is being brought to naught. Okay, and the Lord has his prophets speaking these things into existence, man. You see, let's go here to Joel 5 and 12. It says he frustrated, all right, the plans of schemers. The work of their hands will not succeed. Okay, so the work of the hands of these schemers, Esau, Edom, is not going to succeed. Okay, and we're seeing this man, as the scriptures say, be in scrapes. Okay, this man has so much going on. All right, and when you're proud, you begin to you begin to have a false sense of capability, man. Okay, you begin to have a false sense of capability, which makes you make poor decisions, man. Okay, and the Lord has this man operating, in this false sense of capability. Okay, because this man, all right, Esau Edom, this kingdom, okay, is finna be folded up, man. Okay, we're finna see this man fall, and the Lord's gonna embarrass this man at the end. Okay, verse 13 says he traps the wise in their own cleverness, man. Okay, because Esau think he has all his T's crossed and I's dotted, man. In his mind. Okay, but he's been trapped within his own cleverness, man. Okay, he's known to be what crafty, more crafty, subtle. Those are characteristic of the devil, man, the serpent. Okay, so he prides himself, on deception, being steps ahead, having people operating in confusion while he the only one knows that what's going on. All right, and we're about to see the Lord do him the same way that he's been doing the earth, man. Okay, we're finna see Esau go into complete confusion, man. Okay, and everything that he's built up and everything that he's trying to accomplish, okay, is going to be destroyed. Okay, yeah, Howard Shah is going to be sent to stop the madness of Esau, Edom, and the earth, man. Okay, and we're living in the build up to it. Okay, Okay, he says he traps the wise in their own cleverness. Their cunning schemes are thwarted. Okay, their cunning schemes, all right, are thwarted, man. So as we go here, I got a few videos. Okay, as we know, the main thing that's going on, all right, is what's happening with okay, Yemen and America, back and forth. Okay, and what people don't understand, is America is being exposed. All right, these aircraft carriers, okay, which show, military might, they will pull up, because you will have certain American diplomats go to particular regions of the earth to discuss foreign policy. And guess what? They will be aircraft carrier off the coast of their region as those diplomats, discuss policy, man. Okay, well now, in those aircraft carriers was pretty much, America bullying these nations, man, into American policy, man, American, okay, foreign policy. But now what we're seeing, the Lord has put a spirit in the earth, especially on those nations in the east. Okay, hey, to start getting busy with America, man. Now we're seeing the back and forth. Now you can't just pull up an aircraft carrier and get your way. Nah, you pull up that aircraft carrier. Well, you finna go to work. All right, we finna see what's on that aircraft carrier, man. Okay, like they say, you gotta bring some to get some. Okay, so now these nations in the spirit, like, because they have nothing to lose. Okay, and they've been dealing with, especially in the east. Okay, they've been dealing with, America, all right, just hammering their nations with airstrikes and, cruise missiles. And so now they have a strategy to fight against America, and America has no answer, man. And the Lord has equipped these nations, all right, through Russia, through Iran, through China, all right, but starting with Russia, which Russia was prophesied to be a guard unto these nations, man. Okay, so now what we see, that these nations that was once inferior, they have, a weapons technology, okay, that can be very effective, okay, against the U.S. and these small hats and these other Western nations, man. Okay, so we're going to go here because Yemen, all right, and people don't understand the fact that Yemen can even go back and forth with America says a lot. Okay, the fact that Yemen has precision missiles that can reach Tel Aviv, which Tel Aviv is 1,300 miles away, okay, from Yemen. All right, it's 1,300 miles away. Okay, so the fact that they're able to have precision, all right, missiles, okay, they can go from Tel Aviv, to go from Yemen to Tel Aviv, that says a lot. Okay, so let's go here. All right, and just goes into the missiles that Yemen has been using, okay, to strike Tel Aviv, man. Okay.
The most powerful in the Yemeni missile arsenal, it flew undetected over the missile shield of the USS Harry Truman. It headed towards Tel Aviv, targeting Ben Gurion Airport, and forced Netanyahu to interrupt his Knesset session and flee to underground shelters. Thousands of tons of weapons mobilized by Israel to shoot down this missile, but it failed to stop it. What is the story of this missile that incapacitated the Iron Dome and the US THAAD system? Many secrets and details we reveal to you, dear viewer, in this video. Stay tuned with us.
It turns out there is 1 scent that women just can't get enough of on a man. 1 scent.
If I smell this on him.
Palestine 2 reigns Tel Aviv. The use of the Palestine 2 hypersonic missile in Yemen represents a qualitative leap in the arsenal of the Ansar Allah, which the White House has listed as a terrorist organization, especially in the context of the escalation of the Yemeni conflict and its extension to long-range strategic targets against Israel, the last of which was the bombing of Ben Gurion Airport and Nevatim Air Base. And this attack caused significant damage near the airport, disrupting air traffic and causing a state of chaos. The Israeli ambulance admitted that 13 people were injured as they went to shelters after sirens sounded in the central regions, specifically in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. After the missile was spotted, US President Donald Trump threatened the Houthis, saying they would be completely eliminated. The US president warned Iran that Tehran should immediately stop sending military supplies to the Houthi terrorist militia and let the Houthis fight US aircraft carriers alone. In a post on Truth Social, Trump added that US strikes on the Houthis will get progressively worse and that they will be completely eliminated. In the context, Yemeni media reported that several Yemeni areas under the control of the Iranian-backed Houthis were subjected to new US strikes. They indicated that the strikes targeted the capital Sana'a. Palestine 2 missiles. Why is it the most dangerous to Israel? The length of the Palestine 2 missile is about 8 meters, making it one of the largest hypersonic missiles used in the region, and its diameter is about 1 meter, which gives it greater stability while flying at high altitudes and at tremendous speeds, as this missile exceeds the hypersonic speed barrier, which is 5 to 10 times the speed of sound. And this speed is considered one of the most important characteristics of hypersonic missiles. The missile was able to bypass traditional air defense systems that rely on detection and tracking, and the Palestine 2 can fly at speeds of up to 16 Mach, which makes it capable of covering the distance between Yemen and the depth of Tel Aviv in a very short time. Palestine 2
So yeah, I did the math, on that, because a Mach, what they consider a Mach, the speed of sound is 770 miles. That's considered a Mach. So you have certain jets, they can fly, fighter jets, they can fly Mach 2, okay, Mach 3. Some, are rumored to even be able to fly Mach 4, okay. But when you get up to hypersonic, when you get over Mach 5, okay, then you reach hypersonic speeds. Now, he said that the Palestine 2 missiles are capable of flying up to Mach 16, and if that's true, that is crazy, that's crazy. Now, if you do a Mach 10, let's say you do a Mach 10, so a Mach 10, all right, that means that the missile is flying at 7,700 miles per minute. And if you do the math, so Tel Aviv being 1,300 miles, okay, from Yemen, okay. So if you break down how fast, that missile is flying per minute, it's flying 128 miles per minute. So in 10 minutes, it has covered, 1,280 miles, okay, which puts it right outside of, another 50 miles, okay, from, okay, Israel. So you're talking about Yemen, has the possibility of striking, Israel 1,300 miles away, in 10 to 13 minutes, which that's crazy, to cover that much ground. And see, those aircraft carriers also were meant to be missile defense systems, to protect the small hats from Yemeni's long range missiles. But they're moving so fast, all right, that the aircraft carrier missile defense can't detect them. Okay. So they're bypassing, they're flying right past those aircraft carriers and making it to Tel Aviv, man. Okay. And we got footage on it. We're gonna get into, all right, the footage, okay, of these missiles. Okay, real time. Okay, what's happening now? Okay, so I'm letting some more of this play.
The Yemeni missile relies on a solid fuel propulsion system, which is known for ability to fly at high speed without the need for complex equipment. And solid fuel is one of the key elements in the design of hypersonic missiles, as it allows them to respond quickly and effectively in surprise attacks.
Are you ready for retirement? Our free retirement planner shows you where you stand.
Combat capabilities. The Palestine II missile is based on a mobile launch platform, which enhances its flexibility in use and makes it difficult to monitor and track, as it can be launched from mobile military trucks or from fixed platforms hidden in strategic underground locations. And these platforms are characterized by the ability to carry and launch a large number of missiles in a very short time. The missile features a conventional warhead weighing about 500 kilograms, which gives it great destructive power, especially when targeting ground and underground installations, as it can penetrate defensive fortifications and underground bunkers, thanks to its high explosive power and the shrapnel that is released after impact. It is likely that the warhead contains advanced explosive materials that ensure the spread of shrapnel over a wide area, which increases its effectiveness in targeting military gatherings and vital facilities. And this missile is an ideal choice for strategic attacks that aim to immobilize hostile forces and disrupt their ability to respond immediately. Technical systems. The Palestine II missile comes with advanced capabilities that make it able to operate with high efficiency even in conditions of electronic warfare and jamming, as the missile relies on an advanced guidance system that uses precision gyroscopes and GPS satellite guidance systems, which enhances its accuracy in hitting specific targets. One of its most important capabilities is the ability to maneuver and change course during flight to avoid air defense systems, and it has anti-electronic jamming systems, which makes it able to operate even in combat environments saturated with electronic jamming that may affect conventional systems. And this feature is one of the most important features of modern hypersonic missiles, as it enables them to maintain their course and direction towards the specified target without being affected by hostile jamming operations. The missile relies on a thermal sensor system that helps it track the target with high accuracy, even in difficult weather conditions such as fog or darkness, making it an effective weapon in all weather conditions. And you, dear viewer, what is your assessment of the capability?
All right. So to explain, all right, that missile. All right. First, it's on the mobile launch pad. All right. So when you hear America capping, talking about how they destroyed, Yemen's ability to do this and do that. All right. The niggas lying. Okay. Because they're on mobile launch pads, and those launch pads are able to be driven, all right, underground. So they launch, all right, go back underground. Okay, wait for America to do their airstrike. When America finish their airstrike, all right, they reappear, reload it, okay, and launch again. Okay, that's why America airstrikes is ineffective. Okay, America can do, all right, 200 airstrikes, all right, a day. They still wouldn't be able to accurately target, those mobile launch pads. Okay, so America's airstrikes are deemed ineffective. Imagine a boxing match where you can't hit me, but I can hit you. Well, that's not going to, that boxing match not going to last long. Okay. So this is what we're seeing. And then it talks about how they have radar jamming technology to where those missile defense systems can't pick it up because it jams those missile defense systems, man. And if Yemen got this technology, okay, what do you think Iran has? What do you think China has? What do you think Russia has? What do you think India has? Okay, What do you think North Korea has? If Yemen has this technology, man, all right, and it just shows you that hey, prophecy don't lie, man. All right, the scriptures are 10,000% accurate. When you go into prophecy, man. So let's go here to Jeremiah. I believe it's 50. Okay, 50 and 9. So we're seeing a small example, okay, of those archers, okay, that America speaks of, meaning that the Bible speaks of, okay, that strong archer. We're seeing a small example of that, man, okay, because this is just light work compared to when the Lord really opened up His armor, okay, and put them nuclear warheads on these hypersonic missiles, man. This Jeremiah 50 and 9 says, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country," man. So Russia and its allies, man. And Yemen is under the belt, all right, northern Yemen, which is this the one that's being hostile against the West. They're under the umbrella, all right, of Russia, man. Okay, because Iran is under the umbrella of Russia. All right, Yemen being under the umbrella of Iran, so by default, they're under the umbrella of Russia. And Russia has been, these hypersonics, come from Russia. Okay, and it says, and they shall set themselves in a array against her, which is battle formation. It says, from thence shall she be taken, and their arrows, their missiles, shall be as of a mighty expert man, none shall return in vain. Okay, and we're seeing a small example of that, but the fulfillment of these mighty, these arrows shall be as a mighty expert man. These precision missiles, okay, the fulfillment of that is going to be those nukes that's going to come to America from all these nations who have nuclear capability, man. Okay, and we're seeing a small example of these missiles being of a mighty expert man. All right, how none shall miss. All right, how they're extremely precise, man, and accurate. Okay, and they have what the missile jamming, I mean the radar jamming technology on these missiles, man. Okay, it said none shall return in vain. So there's not going to be one missile shot at America, all right, that's going to be intercepted, okay, by a missile defense system. Okay, every missile that's shot off going towards America is going to have a set target, and it's going to hit its target, man. All right, which is going to fulfill the prophecy of America becoming a desert in less than an hour. Okay, so let's go from there. I want to get this. All right, it's another video I want to get. Okay, and it's going to show. All right, these missiles. These missiles in action real time. Okay. That's not the one. It's a lot. Okay, this is the one here. All right, so this guy here, Israeli News. Okay, which he's a small head, but he, a lot of times he gives pretty good info. Okay, so he's gonna get some good insight. He got some good footage. Of the Yemeni strike on the Ben Gordon, all right, airport in Israel. Okay, so let's play this.
Good evening, friends. Stephen Benoon. We are watching Israeli News Live. The Houthi rebels have struck Ben Gurion Airport in Israel. You can see some of these missiles here going off there are coming in, smaller missiles coming in, but it was the hypersonic Houthi missile that struck the Ben Gurion Airport. The Houthi.
And you see it came in, it was quick, and see what they'll do. They'll send those drones, those slow moving. If you can, you can barely see it, but those slow moving and they look like falling stars. And the scriptures speak about that, you know. But those slow moving drones, okay, they're pretty much a decoy, you know, to get that hypersonic missile through. So you'll see those slow moving, you know, drones. Okay, and this is what you call a strike package, you know. So they might have, you know, 20 drones just for decoys, you know, those slower moving drones for decoys. All right. And then that hypersonic, you know, will come through on the back end and hit what they really want to hit. All right. We seen Iran use this method, you know, last year with their back and forth for the small hats. And ultimately they got the Iron Dome figured out. Okay. And we can stop calling it an Iron Dome. Okay. It's nothing. All right. They got that figured out. You see, Yemen got it figured out. Iran got it figured out. Hezbollah got it figured out. The Iron Dome is rendered trash. Okay. You see, there's nothing that dome does to protect against a real strike package, man. Okay, because imagine if they put one of them one of them things on their hypersonic, small has a finish, man. Okay, well you know eventually, all right, Russia and these other nations, they're gonna obliterate those small hats, man. Okay, the land of unwalled village, man. And America is gonna be the land of unwalled villages too, man. All right, Trump talking about a golden dome. All right, y'all believe that you want to. All right, believe you protect it if you want to. Okay. Now, yeah, well, you just see how fast it comes in, you know. So I just rewind it a little bit.
The rebels used a hypersonic missile, and it did hit the Ben Gurion airport. Don't know exactly where it hit. It doesn't look like a too large of an explosive right there, but it did hit the Ben Gurion airport. We'll play it again. And of course, Trump is furious. He is warning Iran. And speaking about Iran, Trump has had to, let's see, where is that at? Trump is having to back off his ships from the region there because of threat of the Houthi rebels. And I think they actually hit one of the ships.
Waves of attack.
So, you know, Tel Aviv, all right, has been hit by Yemenis missiles. Okay, and you have Trump talking about he furious. Well, nigga, go over there. Nigga, put some boots on the ground. All right, all this tough talk, you know, and Trump been saying they're gonna eliminate this and eliminate that. Well, nigga, you know where Iran at. Go put some boots on the ground. You know where Yemen at. Go put some boots on the ground. Because you see, all right, this push button warfare or these American airstrikes is ineffective. Okay? Pull your tough ass over there to Yemen and put some boots on the ground. Go to Iran, put some boots on the ground. Okay? And you let these guys, Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, beat their chest, okay? Like they some type of mighty men in the earth. Okay. Well, say I ain't seen nothing yet, man. All right, talking about you mad. Well, show you mad. Carry your mad ass over there and put them boots on the ground. Okay? And them folks ain't hiding. You know exactly where they at. Deploy your military over there, man. All right, but they know, all right, that that deployment wouldn't even get off the boat. Okay, so America is in the bind, man. And these small hats, they're gonna get obliterated. Okay, they're setting up to be obliterated. Okay, so let's play some more of this. And then Trump had to bag off them aircraft carriers, man. Okay, because them aircraft carriers getting hit. So now they have to back those aircraft carriers out of the range of those Yemeni missiles, man. Okay, so Yemen has America backpedaling. Okay, so let's play this. Stop letting these guys fool you like they winning and they tough and they got it, man. They don't.
Drones descend upon them, catching even US military planners off guard. Prior to the conflict, the general consensus in Washington was that Yemen lacked the capability to strike with precision against aircraft carriers and US destroyers. Yet, the country's increasingly sophisticated drone warfare and ability to penetrate American naval defenses have forced a dramatic reassessment at the highest levels of Trump's military command. In response, Trump issued a fiery statement accusing Iran of orchestrating and facilitating the attacks, declaring on his Truth Social platform that Tehran would now bear full responsibility for any further assaults on US naval assets. He went so far as to threaten military retaliation against Iran. His remarks signaled for the first time an implicit acknowledgement by the US that Yemen's armed forces had developed a highly effective drone and missile warfare strategy.
And that warfare strategy is pushing U.S. ships further and further from that coastline there. Yemen has mainly been targeting Israeli interests, and this is what the Yemeni spokesman had to say. We'll listen into this here real quick here, what he says here.
In support of the oppressed Palestinian people and in support of their striving resistance, the missile force targeted Ben Gurion Airport in the occupied Jaffa area with a Zulfikar ballistic missile and a military target south of occupied Jaffa with a Palestine II hypersonic ballistic missile. The operation successfully achieved its goal, thanks be to God. In response to the ongoing U.S. aggression against our country, the missile force, the unmanned aerial vehicle, and the naval forces carried out a joint military operation targeting enemy warships in the Red Sea, led by the U.S. aircraft carrier Truman, with a number of ballistic and cruise missiles and drones.
Yahya Saree said their operations have thwarted the U.S. attempts to advance its warships towards the southern Red Sea region and to expand its aggression against Yemen through strikes from the sea. The spokesman said that deadly U.S. aggressions will only increase the Yemeni steadfastness and resilience, and that the operations of the past few days.
And as we already know there, that Trump had to pull back his ships from that region because of that very threat that he's talking about there. So it has become a real threat. It is becoming a real issue there. By the way, you're seeing scenes where Israel is also launching attacks. They're actually launching attacks on 4 different countries right now at once: Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, and the Palestinians. In both Gaza and the West Bank as well. It is really a horrible situation, and the Middle East continues to go up in flames. Reminds me of that video I did just recently showing where even Trump, in his desire to take Canada and Greenland as part of the 1973 Club of Rome map, where they wanted to divide the world up into 10 regions. So think about it. Even the 2030 agenda also speaks of that very same thing there. In news.
So yeah, man. All right. So what we see, Yemen, has those aircraft carriers on the back foot, man. Okay, Tel Aviv is spooked. All right, you have Israeli military. Some of their personnel are refusing to go back to war. Okay, as the ceasefire. All right, as the ceasefire is over, dealing with Gaza. Okay, Small has trying to fight in Syria. Hezbollah has started back. Rocket fire in northern Israel. Okay, the Yemenis is pummeling them from the south. Okay, as far as precision strikes. All right, and wreaking havoc in the Red Sea. Okay, so I want to just to show these small hats, because these small hats are the weakest Edomites of them all. Okay, but they love to portray themselves, as these tough guys. Okay, but let's go here and see the thing that's been keeping Esau in power is prophecy, man. The Lord been propping this nigga up, man. Okay. Let's go here. But see, now the favor of the Lord is leaving Esau, and the anger of the Lord, all right, is on this devil, man. Okay, so let's play this. I think he's going to speak about those Israeli soldiers that are refusing, to go back into war, with this Gaza thing. Okay, so let's play this real quick. This is why I say, man, you got to deal with the boots on the ground, man. All right, the Edomite woman at CNN don't know what the hell going on. Okay, she's just reading the damn teleprompter.
touched on that. It was my follow-up question here. It's like playing with fire, but is he pulling Iran into this conflict now? Is he forcing Iran to do something that would give the U.S. reason to retaliate, perhaps? Poke the bear long enough until it starts to bite or go after you, right? Is that a risk? And what could be the potential fallout of Iran joining? Because I'm thinking of like way further ahead, like China, Russia entering that situation, because their national interests, especially China's, are being threatened.
Well, yeah, you see, the Western policy with respect to war has always been to get the other side to strike first. Because then, you can say they're the aggressor, the brutal attack, blah, blah, blah. You create this whole narrative in your public that then justifies you going to war against them and allocating all these massive financial and military resources into a brand new shiny war. So yeah, they will continue to provoke Iran. Now, what is not clear to me is Trump doing this with the view of actually attacking Iran, or is he doing it with a view of gaining a very or what he imagines to be a very favorable negotiating position? I think he has a. Yeah,
can I throw in there just real quick? Trump was on the phone with Putin last week, and they discussed Iran, that they can't have Iran be in a position to attack Israel. They both agreed on that, which was an interesting statement. I don't think it caught the media's attention in general. So I'm curious what your thoughts are there, because Russia and the U.S. Aligning on that policy, like how does that fit in with what you've just been saying? And apologies for interrupting you there.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, and I think that Iranians themselves understand that they probably don't have to attack Israel, because Israel itself is its own biggest enemy, and I think that the nation is failing. It's failing its people, and it's at war with all of its neighbors, and it's Israel itself is teetering closer and closer to a civil war. Benjamin Netanyahu just ordered the IDF back to war in Gaza, and we see that IDF troops are not happy about this, and some of them are, we have reports of some of them simply refusing to take their orders. So there's, if you're in the military and you're refusing your orders, then that means that the discontent is at the boiling point. That's a very big decision for a soldier to make, because it has extremely heavy consequences potentially.
Yeah, so what you see, is the IDF military personnel, they said they're refusing, to go back to war. Okay, because it's a meat grinder. All right. A lot of IDF soldiers have died fighting Hezbollah and in Hamas. Okay, soldiers have died. They're not built. You see, this ground invasion. There was supposed to be this big ground invasion in Hezbollah in Lebanon. All right, that didn't take place. They tried it, and you had reports that they couldn't get past 400 yards into Lebanon, man. Okay, they was being slaughtered up there by Hezbollah, man. Okay, then with Hamas, they was able to, pummel, Gaza, okay, with those airstrikes. But when it came to trying to hold ground, with ground troops, all right, Hamas, with those tunnel systems, was just picking those troops off, man. Okay, the IDF ain't built for that type of war. The IDF is a push button military, man. They're used to going to war with pushing buttons. Okay, they ain't never been the type, to invade and take over territory. Okay, there's never been a part of their repertoire. Okay, so now they're being ordered to go back, into them trenches. You have some of those guys, what you call doing mutiny. Okay, because you go into the word mutiny, it goes into an open rebellion against the proper authorities, especially by soldiers or sailors against their officers. Okay, refuse to obey the orders of a person in authority, man. And this is what we're seeing happening, okay, in Israel. Now, people say, well, why Iran ain't doing this and Iran should be more aggressive. Well, Napoleon Bonaparte, all right, the French emperor, from the 1800s, he had a good saying, about war. He said, never interrupt your enemy while they're making a mistake. you know. So the small hats are their own worst enemies, man. Okay, and their decision making, all right, is causing civil unrest within their own government, within their own citizens, man. Okay, so Iran doesn't need to attack, all right, the small hats, man. They're attacking themselves, man. Okay, because their foreign policies is trash, all right, and their military strategy more trash. Okay, their economy is going to shits, you know, because of all this war with every goddamn body. Okay, so the small hats are doing a damn good job fighting themselves, man. So Iran is just sitting back and watching, man, as their enemy becomes weaker through their own policy, man. Okay, so let's go from there. We got another video, okay, showing now because the thing is, they're saying America, all right, is you know posturing itself, for a heavy strike, on Iran, all right, which we'll see, okay, and we're gonna follow these things and see. So let's play this, okay. Uh, it say U.S. is mobilizing for strike against Iran.
Come see us on tour in Hartford, Connecticut, Syracuse, Atlantic City, Levittown, New York, Co-host, New York, Providence, Rhode Island, Los Angeles, Bakersfield, San Jose, Toledo, Ohio, and Toronto, Ontario. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Here is Americans' bases surrounding Iran. Okay. What are they doing?
Right where we want them.
What are they doing putting their country in the middle of all our military bases? So if Doge was a real thing, which I think it's fun that they find out these, they're funding trans ballets and stuff. That's fun. And it's hilarious. Yeah. I doubt that money was even being, but the point is, if they were serious about cutting money and balancing the budget, they would get rid of all these bases. These are American bases, military bases.
All right. So when you look at this map, all right, is he showing all these American military bases surrounding Iran? Okay, now you'll look and you like, damn, Iran surrounded. All right, but one thing about it, okay, what they did was just put themselves close, all right, to that wild boar, all right, that we read about in the book of Second Ezra, all right, 15. Okay, so if America gets cute, all these bases can be hit by Iran, okay, within 15 minutes. All of these bases. Okay, every last one of them can be just bombarded and completely flattened. Okay, turned into parking lots. Quick. Okay. So whenever America, when they get their nerve up to do what they're gonna do, it's gonna be a lot of military personnel that's gonna pay a heavy cost. Okay, immediately. You see? So we at the door, man. I'm not saying this weekend, all right, but this is what they tampering around with, man. Okay, you can get it's going to get ugly real quick when they do. All right, hey, when they do go there, it's going to get ugly real quick. Okay, let's play this.
This is actually from 2017. So there might be
stationed in Turkmenistan.
Turkmenistan.
That must be fun.
So there might be a few less in Afghanistan. I'm not even sure about that. But look at all of them in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar,
Why didn't Russia want to have all their bases around them?
Where's the Russian bases? They're not. There's not. Where's China's bases? They're not there. Just the United States, because our government is taken over by the military-industrial complex and Israel. That's why. So why do I bring this up? Well,
all right. So listen up. State Farm was trying to charge me $197 for car insurance. No, thank you.
Because I had a guy on social media say, "Hey, the Houthis, the people in Yemen, they attacked our group of carriers in the Red Sea." And my question is, do you hear what you're saying? Why does the United States have a group of carriers in the Middle East? Does China have a group of carriers off California? Does Russia have a group of carriers in the Hudson Bay? No. So U.S. naval assets in the Red Sea. There's the USS Harry Truman. So that's the aircraft carrier. But it's not just an aircraft carrier. With every aircraft carrier comes a bunch of destroyers and battleships. So then there's the U.S. Gettysburg, the U.S. Stout, U.S. Jason Dunham, the USS The Sullivans. The Sullivans. Sounds like you're stationed at a pub.
Yeah, it's like sounds like the Fighting Sullivans, that movie about that where the entire family dies in World War II.
Oh, that's right.
The Fighting Sullivans.
So this is how we say we care. Some people send flowers. The United States, we send aircraft carriers and the Sullivans. USS Georgia is also there. So that's want to hear this.
Don't forget the USS Israel, our best friend and aircraft carrier.
That's right. That's right. So here's the aircraft carrier. That's the Truman. That's in the Red Sea. The USS Gettysburg. That's a guided missile cruiser. That's also there. That's the USS Stout. That's another guided missile destroyer. The USS The Sullivans. That's a guided missile destroyer.
What? What kind of name is that?
I know, the Sullivans. The USS
Family Guy.
The USS Georgia is there. That's a guided missile submarine. So we have imagine if Russia or China had all those in the Red Sea too. But they don't.
Well,
they don't. Imagine if they had them in the Gulf of Mexico, America. Imagine if they had that's the equivalent of what we have.
Yeah, and also again, really nice stuff. We haven't won for many years.
Right. Yeah. That's the sad part. Well, here, let me just show you this before we get to that. The USA has now moved 7 B-2A Spirit stealth bombers to the Diego Garcia Air Base in the Indian Ocean, together with a large number of support aircraft. So these are all our stealth, right? These are stealth. They're so stealthy you can see them. The Houthis in Yemen and the Islamic regime in Iran are within range of this. That's why they're sending them.
Thank God. Oh, wow. And by the way, they haven't been defeated, the Houthis, even though they've been bombed for
70 years. 70 years, as George Galloway just told us. So also, there's a second U.S. aircraft carrier strike group heading to the Middle East. So not only do we have all this stuff there, we have whole nother group just like this and just like this heading there.
Yay.
Yay. And here's all our bases. And of course, here's the sad part. The really sad part is America would still lose in a war with Iran.
Yeah, why would we win that? We didn't win against Iraq. They didn't have hypersonic missiles.
And how do I know that we would lose? Well, check our win-loss record since World War II. It
ain't good.
It's not me saying it. This is the math saying it. America can't win wars.
Look at all those, like a sex offender registry, all that to lose. America doesn't win. Why do people think that we win?
And because we're trying to fight people who live there, just like in Afghanistan. They knew they were going to win because they lived there.
Right. You know how the WEF...
Yeah, man. So what we're seeing, with America, pull all this, military hardware into their region is just for it to be destroyed. Okay? The reason why the Lord has a spirit on America to pull all this hardware into the region okay, is for that to be destroyed. And the troops are eventually gonna get deployed out there too, man. So we're seeing the Lord, pull America across that water, okay, and it's gonna destroy his military abroad, and it's gonna destroy the American homeland. Okay, so American military personnel and military hardware is being pulled into these conflicts, okay, in this region, okay, or in the Red Sea, the Arabian Gulf, okay, to be destroyed. And then the Lord's going to destroy the homeland. Okay, this is beautiful military strategy that we're seeing playing out, because who's the ultimate, okay, man of war? Okay, what's the ultimate power of war? All right, this is matter of fact, I started at 1. This is Exodus 15:1. All right, because what the Lord did to Pharaoh, that was military strategy, man. Okay, to have him pursue us, to open up the sea and have him pursue us through the sea, then close that water on him, man. Okay, it's a snare, it's a trap. Okay, it's a trap being laid for America, man, to pull all this military hardware, okay, into that region of the earth, man. All right, just to catch that catch that L, man. Okay, Exodus 15:1, it said, Then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, and spake, saying, I will sing unto the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider have he thrown into the sea. Okay, and the horse and the rider is Esau Edom. In this time, man, the new Pharaoh, all right, that horse in Revelation 6:4, which was given the power to take peace from the earth. Okay, and the great sword was given unto him. Speaking of Esau Edom, man. Okay, and it says, The Lord is my strength, all right, and song. He has become my salvation. He is my power, and I will prepare him an habitation, my father's power, and I will exalt him. Okay, and this is what we're doing now, because this is our how about Shema Shai is our salvation in this destruction. This is what we need to be delivered from, this great destruction that's coming with this war, man. Okay, because this war is going to shake the earth, and Yahweh Shai is going to intervene in this war, man, to deliver, all right, and all right, to conquer. Okay, verse 3, it says, The Lord is a man of war. The Lord, Yahweh Bashem Shai, is his name. Okay, so the ultimate war, all right, strategist is Yahweh Bashem Shai. Okay, and these devils, are falling right into the trap, okay, that the Lord has set. And in their mind, they finna catch a W, man. But no, they're finna get the biggest L level, man. And it's beautiful that the Lord has these devils boasting, proud. This is, you're saying Edomite pride, on the rise. Okay. Now, I want to get this in Joel 12:14 in the NLT. Okay. Because this is these devils just in the trick bag, man. Okay. And they got those B-2 bombers, in the offshore air base, in India, so they can be out of the range, okay, of these of those missiles of Iran and Yemen, okay. But matter of fact, I got one more video, then we'll close it out, and we'll get that in Joel. Matter of fact, we get that in Joel, and then we'll get that video. Okay. Okay, so we're seeing, all right, the American military being lured, okay, into, all right, this trap, man. Let me get it back in KJV. All right, so there's a book of Joel chapter 2. All right. And let me get to the point. Yep. This is Joel 2. Okay. And 20. And it says, But I will remove far off from you the northern army. And this northern army is America's military. Okay, which you're seeing, they're being pulled into their region of the earth. Okay, over there in what they call the Arabian Gulf. All right, Saudi, the Red Sea. Okay. And it says, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, which is Saudi Arabia. All right. And his face, okay, towards the East Sea, okay, which is the Gulf of Persia, the Persian Gulf, okay, and his hinder part toward the uttermost sea, okay, which is the Red Sea, which is going to be behind them, okay, because they're going to be in array against Iran. You know, these troops is going to be deployed, and we're seeing the hardware being deployed, and eventually they're going to have to send them troops over there, man. Okay, because their push button warfare ain't effective like it was, okay, in the 90s. Okay, it says that his stink shall come up and his savor shall come up because he have done great things, man. Which every American military personnel that's deployed, all right, to fight in this war, they're not coming back. Okay, all that military hardware that they're sending over there is not coming back. It's all going to be destroyed. Okay, and this is what we're seeing happen in real time. Okay, so let me play this real quick. You know, Colonel McGregor, he's going to expound on it a little more. Okay. Here we go.
Shift from earlier positions, where he once downplayed the likelihood of large-scale conflict in the Middle East, to now predicting a major war involving Iran, Israel, and the United States before the end of 2025. This change in stance appears rooted in his observation of what he describes as an unprecedented US military buildup in the region, a scale not seen in decades, potentially involving assets like carrier strike groups, air wings, and missile defense systems positioned across strategic points such as Qatar's Al Udeid Air Base and Bahrain's naval facilities, home to the US Fifth Fleet. At OMT News, we're dedicated to bringing you sharp, no-nonsense analysis on the conflicts shaping Palestine, Yemen, and beyond. In a world where propaganda drowns out truth and narratives are manipulated to fit political agendas, we refuse to take the easy route. We don't do spin. We don't take sides. We dig deep, call out hypocrisy, and break down the complexities others ignore. But independent reporting like this doesn't thrive without your support. If you value balanced,
I was in Gaza up to last March. During my time there, we started the orphan care program.
Driven more by strategic necessity than ideological fervor, setting the stage for a broader examination of the forces at play. This US buildup coincides with notable Iranian activities, particularly the reported deployment of missile systems near the Strait of Hormuz, a vital artery for global energy markets, as highlighted in a March 23, 2025. Iran has positioned these systems with a reported range of 600 kilometers on the contested Gulf islands of Greater Tunb, Lesser Tunb, and Abu Musa. Located just 50-70 connections here appear designed to bolster deterrence.
That this has been going
economic chaos, a strategy it has rehearsed in exercises like the 2023 Great Prophet drills, which simulated blockades with missile barrages and fast attack boats.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that, unfortunately. Now, you and I know that this has been going on for a long time, and we've had similar buildups in the past. Yeah, the other thing is the Iranians have allegedly been within a week or 2 weeks or 10 days of having a nuclear weapon off and on for a decade at least. I don't know how many times I've listened to someone from the Israeli government or one of their supporters inside the United States make that argument. But this looks very serious. An enormous amount of firepower is being assembled. I think it's unfortunate that we photograph bombers and ships and other things that are being assembled for an attack and then broadcast that through our media. I wish we would not do that. If I were Secretary of Defense, I would ask the media not to do that, and I probably would ban them from any of the installations where the firepower is being assembled. Unfortunately, it's too late. That's been done. And we don't understand that allegedly the Iranians have missiles with a maximum range for precision guidance of 2,000 kilometers. That's great. Diego Garcia is just beyond that range. But the next level, the next ranging level for missiles that both the Russians and the Chinese have, which they could conceivably turn over to the Iranians, is 5,000 kilometers. Now, if those missiles are on hand or they've already been provided, we just don't know. That means that when you assemble aircraft or ships or anything else within that range, they're at risk of being destroyed. And what's to stop an enemy from destroying your aircraft on the tarmac, on the runway, before they ever get a chance to get into the air? So I'm very uncomfortable with all these pictures. I think somebody probably in Washington says, well, this is great. We're intimidating the Iranians. I don't see much evidence for that intimidation. What I see is evidence for revealing too much of what you might do. But that's a problem we have. It's not a new one. We had it during World War II.
Mm-hmm. All right. So just to sum up what he's saying, all right, those they have those stealth bombers, okay, over there in the air base, off the shores of India, and they have them out of range of Iranian and Yemen missiles, okay, so-called. All right. So they think. All right. Now, what they don't know is they don't know if Russia and China has given, okay, Iran, all right, those precision missiles that are capable, okay, of reaching 500 kilometers, okay, which put, their aircraft carrier, all right, with those B-2 bombers well within their range, man. It'd be easy work. And it's hypersonic missiles, man, and they can target those B-2 bombers while they're on the deck of those aircraft carriers, man. So they'll never even get out the deck. Okay, they can pick them up, they can detect them as they moving, and they'll never get off the deck, man. This war gonna be different, man. America is used to just, pulling up with them aircraft carriers and them fighter jets just having free range to go on and off those decks, do bombing missions and come back on the deck, park, chill, just like another day's work, man. Just like someone that worked at Home Depot, no risk at all, But now there's so much missile defense system. There's so much hypersonic technology. There's so much long range precision missiles. There's so many, tank, what you call aircraft carrier. All right, there's they have destroyer missiles. Okay, they're just built for sinking ships. See, this gonna be way different. Okay, the outcome gonna be way different. So America is in the snare. Okay, and the scripture said America will be in the snare. All right, so let's get this in. I'll get this in Jeremiah. Okay, and we'll end it here. Okay, well, we're seeing this play out real time. It's beautiful to see these things play out, just as the scripture said that they would. Okay. This is Jeremiah 50, and I started 22. Okay. This is KJV. All right, Jeremiah 50 and 22 says, a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations, man? So the war drums, they're beating, man. You can hear all these moves being made, things are being put in position. Okay, now how long the timeline is going to be, but we know, all right, what these nations are working towards, man. Okay, and it's ultimately all-out war in the earth, man. All right. So how's the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder, which is America? Okay, because for the longest, America has been able to hammer these nations, man, and mainly through airstrikes and through these destroyer ships. Okay, that they're able to just launch, these assaults on these nations, and it was no resistance. Okay, but now their time is over. Their one-way war that America, is used to waging against these nations, it's over, man. And not only is it over, the hammer finna be broken. Okay? It's finna become a desolation, man. America military finna get slaughtered. Okay? All this military hardware is gonna be destroyed, and America itself gonna be destroyed, man. Okay, verse 24 says, I have laid a snare for thee. Okay, a trap. You know, and America is playing right into the trap that the Lord has set for him, man. It says, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. The Lord have opened his armory and have brought forth, all right, the weapons of his indignation. So as America is being pulled into this snare, all right, the Lord is going to open up their real armory, okay, which is going to be them nukes, man. And the real, and see, these nations are going to unleash some real firepower on America and that on American military in their region, and they're going to ultimately shoot those nukes on the land of America, man. And this is all because what? America has striven against the Lord. America has been, all right, the leader of rebellion, all right, against righteousness in the earth. And this is the punishment for that. We're witnessing America walk into the trap of their punishment from Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, man. Okay? And it says, the Lord had opened his armory and had brought forth the weapons of his indignation, for this is the work of the Lord, power of hosts, in the land of the Chaldeans. Okay? And we're finna see the Lord do a mighty work, okay, in the earth, man, and judge, all right, the whore, okay, which is America, man, and all these other nations, man. But America is going to get it the worst, okay. So that was the point, you know, Lord will, you know, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again and give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great example towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings salutations to the whole Philip Shalom.